people have kind of made fun of Ondra, like laying on the ground, mimicking the route, but it sort of doubles his engagement. And then Alex goes one step further and says, you know, doing imagery right after you lower off of a route, and your hands are still feeling it. Your feet still feel tight in the shoes. You have the fresh air of the crag. The more you can revisit your experiences on that route with the more sensory input, the better off you are. And so all this stuff is really fascinating, because as you start to go, oh man, my power is declining as I age, or I don't feel like I can learn movement as well, there's a lot of things that I can still really emphasize. And it's like you're saying, you're getting better at staying focused and thinking about what you really want to achieve in climbing. That's a maturity thing, you know. That's like an adult approach to continuing to develop as an athlete, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. The Alex example, you're kind of like getting extra reps on the crux moves or on the climb once you come down without having to tax your skin and your fingers anymore and things like that. Yeah, that's awesome. And then, that last thing you said, I think a big thing that shifted for me that's incredibly helpful is just like, I've always had I've always gotten hung up on like feeling like I need to be productive in my climbing, and I like to check boxes and I like to fill out the pyramid and all those things. And at some point, just through sheer volume of climbing and experiences and things, that kind of loses its I don't know, like it's luster or something. Like I don't know, like it's easier for me to let go of that and focus on pursuing a more challenging journey of a process and a harder climb, things like that. Like, I've done so many V8s. Like, I don't really need to do a bunch of V8s in Waco to feel like I had a good season anymore, because I've done that enough years now. Yeah. So, I mean, part of that's like mindset work, but part of it's just, you do it long enough and you're like, oh, okay, it's time to start focusing on what really feels meaningful to me, because only have so many years left probably of pursuing harder bouldering. So, well, and it's cool, like embracing these different kinds of challenges. A lot of the climbers, as they age, will change focus, but still re-engage with that process of, this, big, audacious goal, breaking it down, addressing all the parts of it, and then really trying to go for it again. I love seeing that, Yeah. Like people that had a really, it's really interesting. Like, you see, Johnny Dawes is interesting right now, because he's like coming back, and he was like, like Stone Monkey was a really pivotal movie for us as young climbers. And, and here he is coming back and climbing like the world's hardest slabs and things. And I think it's really cool. Do you know that I just interviewed him? Yeah, that's crazy, huh? I'm so excited to share that. Yeah, I haven't shared it yet as we're talking about this, but hopefully it'll be out by the time this drops. I've been waiting. I saw, I got your email, said you were going to talk to him, and I'm like, ask him about Stone Monkey. But hey friends, I'm interrupting my own video to tell you guys about follow-up episodes. So the video that you're watching right now is from a follow-up episode that I did on the podcast, which means that the full version is only available for patrons who support the podcast for $5 per month or more. You can become a patron by going to patreon.com/thenuggetclimbing. There's a link right there in the description for this video. Again, $5 per month, super quick and easy to sign up, and you can cancel at any time, no questions asked. All right, enjoy the rest of the video. I'm reading a lot about motor learning and development right now, and one of the things that's really interesting with, as as you get older, it gets harder, but it's really crazy because they can go, he probably hasn't ridden a mountain bike since October. And he'll come out and he'll be like as good as he was before, and maybe a little bit better. A young person's ability to continue to imprint quality movement, even after practice, is really, really high, which is a fascinating. It's a fascinating thing anyway. And then the adult ability to do that, like at my age, it's like, man, if I learn to do anything at all, it's really super cool.
So,
do you think that's fully true though? Because I have this. I mean, most climbers that I see just seemingly, if they're the type of climber that has intention, maybe that's the common denominator here, like bringing intention to your climbing. It seems like people that climb longer just kind of keep creeping up, whether it's moving a little better, climbing a little harder, whatever, being a little better at on-sighting. It seems like that learning and those skills do just seem to kind of sink in over time. And this is a funny, weird little anecdote, but I studied music in college. That was like my music was like my main thing before climbing kind of took over for me. And I hardly ever play anymore, and I've hardly played music in the last, almost 11, 12 years since I've graduated college. But I notice now, because I listen to music a lot, when I do pick up a guitar or a piano or, play on the piano or whatever, I'm almost better at certain things. I can like hear things and kind of figure out songs more quickly and more easily than I used to be able to. It's like there's my subconscious is kind of still like connecting pieces and learning things just from listening and being exposed to it.
Yeah.
Which I find that really interesting.
I think it is interesting, and I think we learn so well by, like you're saying, like listening to music and then but actively engaging with, how is this music structured? You're really, when they talk about that deliberate practice, that engaging with the music in that way is probably a form of deliberate practice. And you can then probably improve in that way. What's really interesting is I'm getting much better at like drop knees, heel hooks, knee bars, like the lower body styles. And even though that's not really present in my local climbing, a lot of my like thought processes there come from watching video. You watch Seth Bowen climbing and you're like, oh, I didn't even think you could knee bar on an edge that big, but then you start trying it and you start trying all this like body English you see, and that in and of itself is its own kind of practice. And so not only do I think that climbers should watch videos actively, but I feel like videoing yourself and then re-engaging with that is a super strong way of making yourself revisit it. And I was talking to Alex Bridgewater about this, and he, in part of his sports psychology grad program, is researching imagery, but imagery in like, I'm going to sit on my couch and think about the project, isn't nearly as strong as actually moving your hands and your legs.